everybody.
It's so good to see you here tonight in the summertime. Yay.
How many have had a snow cone already?
Yeah, I was going to say, who hasn't gotten one yet and you're waiting for it? You just want us to stop talking so you can go get one. All right, I'm telling you, the Berg sells the best shaved ice. And they do have some sugar-free flavors if you need sugar-free. So there you go.
Yeah, so we hope that you'll take advantage of that. And thank you so much for coming to this. Traditional wisdom is that summer events at churches are not well attended. You guys prove that that's not true.
Yeah.
We're so thankful there are so many of you here tonight to do this. If you aren't familiar with Married Life Live, we do this 4 times a year. It's a free date night with a purpose, and we focus on one major thing that can help take your marriage to the next level. So we hope you'll enjoy this, and we hope you'll come back to the next one as well. Now, we love to do giveaways. Are you guys all about giveaways? Do you like doing when we do a giveaway every once in a while? Okay. So that was a little anemic, but we'll go with it.
I know, hey, well, maybe they're either hot or it's like too much sugar.
It could be. I don't know. But a lot of times we honor, hey, who's been married the longest? But tonight we want to figure out who is it that is getting started on the right foot. So we're going to figure out who has been married the shortest.
The right foot or the left foot?
Either one, as long as it's together, right?
Okay,
so,
that's right.
It's a three-legged race, right?
So maybe the middle one.
Right, there you go. So we're going to look for who's been married the shortest amount of time.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the year. If you've been married a year or less, please stand. Yes, I want you to stand so that we can clap for you.
Yay, look at this.
That's awesome. Congratulations. All right, let's do...
These guys were over here counting. Oh, it has been less than a year.
All right, let's do this. If you've been married 10 months or less, you can stay standing. If you've been married more than 10 months, 10 to 12, sit down. Whoa, okay.
Wow,
8.
okay.
Anybody married less than 8 months, stay standing.
Okay.
Okay, a few sitting down. Anybody less than 6 months, stay standing.
Okay, we're asking them to do some math now. Right.
5 months or less? 4 months or less? Okay, we were down to 4. How many months have you guys been married? How long? 2 months. How about you guys? June
22nd. Whoa.
So 1 month. Gigi, how about you guys? 2 months. I think
we have a winner.
We have a winner.
This is awesome. Congratulations, guys.
If one of you guys wants to come up and grab the other s'more maker, you can. You guys can have a little, fun date making s'mores. Yeah.
Hey, let's give all those couples a hand for starting off investing in their marriage. That's awesome. We're so thankful for that.
It is.
Now, something that you've heard us talk about a lot if you've been to Married Life Live events before is our marriage retreat. We do it in the summer. It's a huge thing. We plan it all year long. We're focused on it all year long. And so how many of you have been to a marriage retreat with us before at some point in time or another? Wow, okay, so you guys know.
That's awesome.
It's interesting, there's a parallel because we asked at the retreat how many of y'all have been to Married Life Live, and it was like the whole room, right?
Yeah.
And it is kind of like Married Life Live for a weekend. It's a lot of fun.
So if you have fun at these, you should definitely sign up for the retreat.
Yes, and it's going to be coming up. We will be opening sign up later this year. But in case you're wondering whether you should sign up when the sign up opens up, we wanted to show you a little bit of what this year's retreat was like so you can be thinking toward next year. So check this out.
It could be from 2 years ago. It could be from 2 minutes ago when you took your break. or it could be from 22 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But make it right, because God will bless that.
Woo! Yeah, we had an awesome time at the retreats, and we can't wait for you to join us in 2025. Now, listen, I know we had a fun game earlier. If you were outside getting your snow cone, we kicked off a game earlier before the service started. But this game, the game we're getting ready to play, is the high stakes game, okay? For our runner-ups, we do have free shaved ice, okay? So if you didn't get a shaved ice, you should just volunteer. By the way, newly married couples, this is a great thing to volunteer your spouse for, okay? They're the naive ones enough that I think I can get them with that. Okay, but we are also giving away a $50 gift card, okay? So if you want to have an awesome date after the date night, I just need three people that love maybe Wheel of Fortune and aren't afraid to be brave, okay? And it's okay. This is a great opportunity for you to volunteer. Yes, I see that hand right there. The one that, whoever made the noise over here, come on up. The hand in the back, the backward baseball cap, white cap right back there. Yes, thank you. And bring your spouse with you. Yep. Sorry, I don't know if I said that before, but that's happening. Okay, right there, yeah, yes, just send one of them up, that's fine. Whoever gets up fastest, okay? There it is, right here. Okay, in the blue shirt, give a round of applause as they come up here. This is a never before played game at Married Life Live called the Wheel of Ill Will. We'll see how it goes. We may never play the game again, okay? I don't know. We'll just have to see. So come on over here. We've got 3 couples that are going to be joining us. You guys, why don't you guys start right here for me? And then we'll go, yes, perfect. This is perfect. Okay, I'll have you guys introduce yourself and your spouse. If you want to split the mic, you can. It's really up to you, okay? Introduce yourself and how long you've been married. Go ahead.
Callie and Ivan Seward, 6 years.
6 years. Let's give it up for the Sewards. We appreciate you guys coming up here. Who do we have here?
Jacob and Savannah. We've been married 9 years yesterday.
As of yesterday. Wow, 9 years. That's awesome. Honey, for our 9-year anniversary, I'm taking you to Married Life Live. That is awesome. That's so great. What's the last name for you guys? We got the Sewards?
Evans.
Evans, we got the Evans. Okay, right here.
Zach and Megan Wetta. We've been
Okay.
married for almost 6 years.
For 6 years. That's awesome. Really great. That's great. So we got the Sewards, we got the Evans, and what was the last name? Sorry?
Wetta.
Wetta. Okay, perfect. So we got this. This game is very simple, okay? If you turn to your left here, you're gonna see our Wheel of Ill Will. We're gonna put up a puzzle, okay? This puzzle, all you have to do really is guess a letter. It's very simple. The crowd will be watching. Hopefully they can, hopefully they'll figure it out. You guys, I'm confident we'll figure it out. This is just like Wheel of Fortune, except totally different, okay? We're gonna start with couple 1 right here. You guys will guess a letter. If it's up there, we'll spin the Wheel of Ill Will. And you'll either get points or you'll have to complete a challenge that may or may not be embarrassing, okay? If you complete the challenge, though, you'll get a round of applause from the audience, right? Of course. And more points. So, and I will say, this is a little bit different. You don't have to buy vowels in this puzzle, okay? And also, if you guess a letter correctly, you get a chance to solve, but you don't retain control of the board. We're gonna go and let everybody guess the letters. Does that make sense? Okay, so we'll start with the Sewards right here. Just need a letter, any of the letters that are up there. Go ahead and give me one letter. Let's see if it's on the puzzle.
Let's do an A.
They're gonna go with A. Is it there? Hey, 2 A's. That's great. So, Ivan, whenever you're ready, you just say stop, and that'll stop on a challenge or points. Let's hope it's points. Stop, there it is. Beautiful, sculpting, okay. Don't you wanna know what that challenge is? It's very simple. Ivan or Callie, it is up to you. You have 30 seconds to make an animal out of this Play-Doh, okay? It's up to you. And the challenge is, will the audience be able to guess what it is after 30 seconds? So we're gonna have a camera get nice and close so the whole audience can see. 30 seconds on the clock. 3, 2, 1, go! Come on, Callie. Yeah, you got it. You're on. What could it possibly be? Ivan's curious. He doesn't have any idea. You got 16 seconds, Callie, whenever you're ready. That's it. Give it up for the amazing, what is this?
Come on.
Snake? It was a snake. Okay, there you go. I was gonna go for worm, and then you added the jaws in there, and it made it all totally clear. All right, way to go. They got points with a second to spare, so that's awesome. All right, Evans, we're coming to you. And I guess, I'm sorry, did you want to try to solve?
Oh,
Yeah, okay, all right, we're gonna go to the Evans then. I just need a letter, Evans, from you guys. What do you think?
M.
M. They're going with M. Is it up there? No, M. Sorry. All right, coming over to the Wedas. What do you guys think? E. Gonna go for E. Is it up there? Hey,
Whoa.
3 E's. That's a lot of points. If we can complete the challenge, tell them when to stop. Whenever you're ready.
Stop.
Stop. Oh, 200 points out of the gate. Way to go. Wow. Way to go. You didn't have to do the challenge now. And I could tell. I know your hand went up just as high as his all the way in the back row, so I bet you're really happy about that. Okay, coming back to you guys. Just need a letter. Unless you want to solve. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting that. Gonna go with a pass. Okay, all right, here we go. Stewards, what do you guys think? We got a puzzle up there. We just need a letter from you.
T.
T, let's go for T. Is it there? No, T. Evans, a chance to redeem yourself here. Just need a letter.
D.
D. Now, for those of you paying really close attention, you'll notice last time the husband said the letter and it wasn't there. This time the wife said the letter. And is it there? Yes, see, there's a lesson there. Sorry, that's not my job. That's Jonathan and Wendy. We'll talk about it later. Okay, 3. Stop. There it is. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so this is very simple. I will let you guys come on over here, okay? And one of you can try. If you can't get it, the other one can try. But we've got, just grab 5 Oreos. You're not eating them, so I'm just gonna grab them for you, okay? There you go. We got 5 Oreos right there. Your job between the two of you, if you just try to stack it on your head, okay, without it falling, okay? And you get a whole 30 seconds. Now, you can help him however you want to do it. You can help her if she's stacking it. Whoever wants to put it on their forehead is fine. But 30 seconds, if you can get it, you get the prize. All right, you guys think they can do this? I believe in you. You were made for this moment. It's up to you. Yeah, I mean, I would probably let her stack it on you if I was the husband, you know. But you can stack it on her forehead. She might love Oreos on her face. Okay. All right. Oh, see, look at that. Okay, there we go. All right, here we go. 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. 26 seconds, 25 seconds, 24 seconds. And we're amazing. Wow, that's amazing. Now, think of it this way. Regardless of who wins this game, you guys get 5 Oreos. So good job. Give it up for the Evans. Way to go. All right. Okay, you do get a chance to solve. You got 2 D's up there. Do you think you know what it is? No. Okay, we're going to the Wedas. What do you guys think? Just need a letter.
S.
S, going for S. Is it there? No S. Coming back over here. Couple 1 right here, 100 points. What do you guys think?
Do an R.
You're gonna go for an R. Is it there? Hey, the R's there. Now we just got to spin that wheel. Tell them when to stop whenever you're ready.
Stop.
Stop, there it is. Confetti. Oh, this is gonna be a great one. Okay, so you guys come on over here. You get to work together on this. You have 20 seconds, I think, to just using your breath, blow all the confetti out of the bowl, okay? Here, I can hold your microphone for you. You guys can do it. I believe in you. 20 seconds on that clock. We'll get a close-up of you guys. 3, 2, 1, go! Come on, you get all of it. Get all of it, yep. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Oh, there it is. There it is. 13 seconds to go. That was awesome. I even love that more than all of you. That's great. That's fantastic. That's great. Okay. All right. You do get a chance to solve here. Do you know? You got those 2 R's. I'll give you a category here. Category is thing. Okay. Backyard bird feeder. Is that it? That's it. Way to go. Way to go. That's awesome. Now, all these other prizes we don't even get to because you guys are so good, but we'll give you the gift card. Way to go. Give it up for our winning couple here. Walking away not empty-handed, 5 Oreos richer, plus 2 free snow cones. Give it up for the Evans. We appreciate you guys coming up here. Thank you so much for coming up. You guys did great. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it so much. Give these guys a round of applause. A lot of fun. I'm so excited for you guys to be here tonight. If you were at the marriage retreat, you got met a really fun couple, actually, very competitive. Josh and Heather Tice. They're doing ministry out in Las Vegas, and I'm so excited. They're going to intro the subject for you today. Josh is going to intro our subject of respect, and then the New Spring Band's got some fun for you, and Jonathan and Wendy will be out. Watch this.
Hello, New Spring Church. Pastor Josh Tice from Las Vegas, Nevada here. I'm so thrilled to be with you via this video today. We had such a great time at the marriage retreat there in Kansas City, and I hope you're doing well in Wichita. Hello to my friend Jonathan. Now, I've got to tell you all, I'm not here with Heather today. Heather couldn't join me for this video, but she supports all that is being stated in this video about respect. Now, marriage can be difficult, especially if you're in a marriage that is void of respect. And sometimes we get the idea that there's no way for us to properly show respect to our spouse until first they show respect to us. And so we're found in this constant cycle of waiting for somebody else to show respect, and they in turn are waiting for you to show respect. And so we've seen that the respect cycle can be begun by any person in the marriage. But it all begins with scripture. According to 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 17, it says, respect everyone. One of the reasons why I think it's incredibly difficult for us to show respect and honor inside of marriage is because of what this verse says. It says, respect everyone. Which leads to my first thought on why in marriage it's so hard to show respect. It's because we try to respect everyone. You're at work, you're at the bank, you're at the grocery store, you're on the road, and you're trying your best to keep your mouth shut and respect everyone and honor everyone's wishes. And then you come home and you drop your guard and you're like, I'm safe. And suddenly when you drop your guard, you let everything loose. In your marriage, it should be a safe place, but don't drop your guard. Number two, when it comes to respect, you have to understand the cycle. The more you give it, the more you get it. One of the reasons why a lot of us feel highly disrespected could be because we're not often giving respect. We're not showing honor. Most of the time, we are sitting there waiting for somebody else to trigger that cycle. And when they show me honor, when they respect me, that's when I'm going to respect them. And maybe in our marriage, there ought to be one individual, maybe it's the husband, maybe it's the wife, who just decides, you know what? I'm going to start seeing them well and honoring the things in their life that they do well. Not waiting for them to respect me, but me choosing to respect them first. So we would say how to keep you respect and honor in your marriage. Number one, don't drop your guard. Even though it should be a safe place, show honor and respect. Number two, the more you give it, the more you get it. And then number three, give it before they earn it. Okay, so a moment ago when I said, hey, start the cycle, you're thinking to yourself, okay, the moment they earn my respect, that's when I'm gonna give my respect, which is a huge mistake. Instead of waiting for somebody to earn your respect, you'll notice that if you give them respect and honor, they begin to live up to that level of respect and honor. So what we would say is this, don't drop your guard. The more you give it, the more you'll get it. And give it before they earn it so they can live up to that higher nobility. We love you, New Spring Church. We are thankful to God for you and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Song, you can stay seated.
Mind on nothing else. He trades the world for the good thing he's found. If she's bad, he can see it. She can do no wrong. Turn his back on his best friend if he puts her down. Last dime, trying to hold on to what he needs. He give up all his comforts, sleep out in the rain. If she said that's the way it ought to be, oh my God. When the man baby, baby, baby. When a man loves a woman, oh, I know exactly how it goes. When a man loves a woman, when a man loves a woman, when a man loves a woman, say when a man loves a woman, when a man loves a woman, oh Lord, when a man
Well, that was fun, huh?
There's so much talent in that marriage, it's not fair. You're gonna
It
hear from
isn't
Angie here
fair.
later. Wow, we're so thankful for you two. Such a blessing to us. And we're excited to talk to you about a really important topic in marriage, which is respect.
Yep. And I know we've had fun so far, and don't think that now it's not going to be fun. It's still going to be fun, okay?
Yeah, we'll start with a little exercise here. Why don't we do that? A lot of you know that I'm a professor. I teach at Graduate School of Psychology, and one of the things that is now a big thing, I didn't know this until recently, is a big thing to have people self-grade things. Like, I won't let that be their final grade. I just can't do that.
Come on,
But
you won't just give them an A
I
if they
just
want
won't.
an A?
I can't do it. But I will let them self-evaluate just for me to see whether they're in the realm of reality. Like, okay, are you close, you know? But let's start here with a self-grading exercise, right?
Yeah, we're going to do that now. We don't need you to say it out loud, okay? So
You don't even have to tell your spouse. You don't
Yeah.
have to tell your spouse, right?
But like on a scale, I mean, I was thinking like 0 to 10, but
Sure.
you were thinking professor-wise, and earlier when we were talking about it, he said 0 to 100. So, you know, I don't know.
When you're
Whichever,
married-
you pick your favorite,
When
all
you're
right?
married to a statistician, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So you get to pick 10 out of 10 or, 0 to 100.
Yeah.
But what would you give yourself? How would you rate yourself when it comes to respecting your spouse?
Yeah, and the reason that we ask that is because from years of doing couples coaching, marriage counseling, whatever you want to call it,
Well, and from just being a couple, too.
our own personal experience, yeah, absolutely, from our own personal experience. One thing we would just about bet that if you were to rate yourself about respect and then also rate yourself on other areas, like guys, if you were rating yourself on providing and protecting, or ladies, if you were to rate yourself on caring and sacrificing and loving, things that we're like, this is what it means to be married as I do these things, and we just go for broke on those things. But our experience has been that people grade themselves a little lower on respect. There are other
Yeah.
things they're like, hey, we're doing really great on this, but respect, we have some room to grow. And that's even the case in some very healthy marriages.
Yeah, I mean, most of us, even those of us with healthy marriages, have a little bit of work to do in this area. So it tends to show up maybe when you're tired, or you've had a really long day at work, or the kids are being annoying,
or if you're really stressed, if you have a lot of stress in your
maybe
life
some
at that
health
point in
issues
time.
going on. The temptation then is to put respect on the back burner and
And
kind
just
of
survive.
Yeah, just survive. Well, and like what Josh was saying in his video, you just sort of let your guard down, and so you put it on the back burner. But we want to encourage you guys tonight, from tonight forward, to make respect a front burner issue.
Right, to really put it up in that higher echelon of really important things that you think of when you think about marriage. Like, these are the things that we really want to do. And there are a couple of reasons, because we're not just saying take our word for it. There's a couple of reasons why we would say respect belongs way up there on the list. It belongs way up there with the other things that we think of when we're like, this is what marriage is all about. Part of that is from the Bible, and part of that is just from what we've learned by studying marriages.
Yeah, the Bible tells us in Luke 6:31 to treat others just as you want to be treated. And that's one version. There's another version that says to treat others exactly like you want to be treated.
Right, and by the way, this is Jesus speaking, right? We call this the golden rule. You learn it in school as the golden rule. Actually, it's the Jesus rule. It started with Jesus, right? The idea that we should treat others, but it says treat them just the way you want to be treated. Treat them exactly the way you want to be treated. So I don't know if you're like me, because I can like get in my head and go, well, yeah, I pretty much treat Wendy the way I want to be treated. Pretty much.
Do you do your fingers like that when you think that?
Mentally, I do. Mentally, I do, yeah.
Because I've never seen you just standing around doing this at home,
Mentally,
so I
mentally, I do. And it's like Jesus says, yeah, I didn't ask pretty much. I said, are you treating her exactly the way that you want to be treated? And that really comes into play when we're tired, when we're stressed, when we're having a bad day. And so it's really important. The other thing from a research perspective, you've heard us talk about Dr. Gottman before. Dr. Gottman's a famous marriage researcher, studied thousands of couples over decades. He was able to predict which of the couples in his data set would get divorced or not with 94% accuracy. Folks, we don't get predictive values like that in social science. It just doesn't happen. And here's what he found. He found that the couples that were headed for divorce, the key indicator was a culture of contempt, a pervasive attitude in the home of contempt.
Yeah, and that contempt, if you're not like, oh, like what is that? I think I know what that is. That's just acting like you're better than somebody else.
It's
like,
the opposite of respect.
It's the opposite of respect, yeah. And so he had also boiled it down to, and describing the qualities of a healthy marriage now, he says, those two things that you need to do in your marriage that need to be lifted up are love and respect.
So we're saying, here's why it should be up there at the top of the list. Jesus told us to do it, and then we know that if we were to just research and find out what are the two biggest things, respect is gonna be one of those. So it's really, really important that we pay attention to it.
Yeah, well, so in order to have the best kind of marriage, what we need to do is create not that culture of contempt, we need to create the culture of respect. But you know what? We struggle with that.
It's easier
sometimes,
said than done.
Right?
Much
people on the
easier said than
stage,
done.
people in the cameras, people in this whole room, we struggle with that sometimes. And there's lots of reasons why, just a few. One might be your family of origin. Okay? Maybe your grandparents or your parents or your aunt and uncle or whoever raised you. Maybe they didn't have just good examples of what
Maybe
it was
they didn't model it for you. You just never saw it.
They didn't respect each other very well in their actions and their tone of voice and their body language. Maybe you've got hurt feelings. Maybe there's been some stuff going on that's hurt your feelings.
There's some history.
There's some history there, yeah. Maybe you've got unmet expectations. I know this was a big one for me when we first got married. You know, I mean, not that I love you and you meet my expectations now, but you know, back then,
oh, that's
maybe
good
not
news.
so much.
And I have it on video, so that's great. So
unmet expectations can cause us to disrespect somebody else. Just problems just popping up can cause us to disrespect our spouse.
Yeah, and we can be respectful even when those problems start popping up. Now, by the way, this is what it's like to speak to a room full of married couples, in case you're wondering. I know that when we say sometimes problems are just cropping up in the marriage, a lot of folks in this room, the problems that we're talking about are the dirty socks being left on the floor, or somebody not being on time to things and that
playing
sort of thing.
Playing too many video games,
right? And it's
like
agitating, right? And somebody's in this room, though, there are some people in this room that are like, no, my spouse is abusive or they're sexually acting out. And you're like, that's what's popping up in my marriage. Okay, well, here's the deal. When that happens, right, that's a dangerous marriage situation. There needs to be some distance where you figure out where are we going and how are we going to land with this. But what we want to share with you is even in that distance, even when there's time where we're figuring out, okay, what do we need to do to make this better, we can still show respect, right? We can still be respectful to each other. We're going to talk about that. But we also want to make the point that we're not saying you should ignore what somebody's doing wrong. The Bible says that it is a good thing to overlook a fault, right? So the dirty socks on the floor is a fault. And Josh at the marriage retreat.
You keep mentioning that.
I know. Well, I leave a lot of socks on the floor, so I'm just sneaking that in there.
He's not lying.
Josh and Heather talked about love covering a multitude of sins, right? So there are things that we can overlook, but when somebody is actively harming you, that's a whole other thing. And we want to make sure that we're sort of making that clear.
Yeah, that was our disclaimer. All right, it may be comforting for you to know that for everyone, the struggle is real, okay? Respect is not easy.
Yeah, if it's not easy for you, just know it's not easy for anybody else in the room, including us.
Right, but if respect isn't easy, and if it's so important in all of our relationships, then like it's super important, so why didn't God just like make us do it automatically?
That'd be lovely. It'd be lovely if we would just like default, like if that was how our operating system came from the factory, just to show respect all the time. But we've noticed in our work with couples, 3 things, right? You're always looking for it. Where's the list? Pastor's got a list somewhere. Notice 3 things that tend to make it hard to show respect, that kind of keep us from doing it automatically. These aren't the only things, but I think these will really help you. And we want to share these challenges with you and, ways that you can overcome some of these really common challenges.
Yeah, because what would be the point of coming and saying, here's the problems, now go home and think about it? That would be weird.
Right.
Okay.
So we've got some good ideas for you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay. So number 1, the challenge is that the idea that filtered, I think you had heard Josh talk about, holding back, kind of not just letting it all out and filtering things. We have an idea, I think, in our marriages that if we filter something with our spouse, if we filter what we think or how we act or how we talk or our body language or whatever, that we're being fake with them.
Yeah, the idea that to filter is to be fake. That to edit myself means that I am somehow not being genuine, not being honest, not being real with them.
Yeah.
And it's a reasonable question. I mean, let's sit with this for a second. If I'm thinking something, and it's the first thing that comes into my brain, and I am a verbal processor. Any verbal processors in the room, you have to hear it come out of your mouth to know whether you think it's true? Okay, I'm one of those people. So I will say stuff, right? But if I catch myself and I change what I would have said, is that being fake? Or if I would have, right? There's an acronym for this in psychology, but they talk about the disrespectful stance, which is hands on hips, rolling eyes and sighing deeply, right? And so maybe that's, maybe whatever posture you take when you sort of send that zinger body language to your spouse to let them know you're not happy and they know what it is, whatever it is, they know what it is. But I change that and I have a better demeanor. Am I being fake? Am I not being real? So we should ask ourselves the question, is it fake to filter?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not fake to filter. And let's think about it this way. Let's take it out of the realm of relationships, because sometimes that seems kind of abstract. And let's go to something that we can, think of concretely. Water, for example. If you're hiking in the woods in the mountains of Colorado and you have a stream or a lake, or I don't hike, I go to the beach. So anyways, I don't really know what I'm talking about here, but I know that the water is not as clean and, wonderful, and you can't just drink it right away, but they make these really cool filters, that you can put the water in and then you can drink it. Right? Would you prefer to drink the amoeba-filled water out of the stream directly, or would you prefer to drink the water that's been through the filter? I mean, is the water that came through the filter real water?
Right.
Yeah, it's real water, right?
And it sort of drives home this principle that we would share with you, that filtered is better. Mm-hmm. Filtered is actually more the real thing than just being uncalibrated and just flying off and doing or saying what I would normally have said. Actually, if I can filter, it will be the best version of me, a better version of me, a more real actual version. How many times have you gotten in a fight with your spouse and after the fact you're like, that was so not me. What I said was so not me. What I did was so not me. And the thing is, that's a lack of filtering. What happened was we didn't filter the gunk out that was there, right? I'll give you another example, right? Oil filters. Many of you know I was a mechanic for years before I went into the ministry. It's incalculable the number of oil filters I took off cars and put new oil filters on. Never did I have a guy come up to me and say, hey, can you just leave that off and turn it into a closed loop system where there's no filter? Because nobody would ever do that. No guy's gonna say, I really feel like my oil's being disingenuous. It's going through this filter. It's really changing the nature of the oil, right? So I don't really want that. No, we know that the filtered oil is better and it retains its best qualities. That's why we wanna do that. Of course, I know, it's just like a coffee filter, right? It's we could make that same statement about a coffee filter. There's always gonna be somebody in the room who's like, no, I wake up in the morning and eat Folgers grounds with a spoon. There's gonna be some guy in the room who has an 11-liter Duramax or Power Stroke out in their truck who's like, no, I just put crude oil in there and fire her up. But for the rest of us, right, we recognize that we need filters, that filters are a good thing.
Yep, we insist on filters, sometimes except for when it comes to our marriage. But we need filter. We need filters. We need many filters, multiple days, every day in our marriage. Because why?
Because we have a sin nature.
Oh, yeah.
Because there is gunk in there. Just like the reason that we would filter water is because there's gunk in there. The reason we filter our oils is because there's gunk in there. And the reason that we filter our air in our HVAC system, our filter got clogged up and lines froze up.
We had no air conditioning.
A couple days ago, had no air conditioning, right? It's because there's gunk in there. So we need a filter to get it out. And in this case, the gunk that we need to get out is that sin nature, right? We are created in God's image. If we're a believer in God, we have the Holy Spirit living inside of us, but it doesn't matter how long you've been following God, until you leave this planet, you will always be wrestling with a sin nature and will always be putting gunk in the water that has to get filtered out.
Yep, Galatians 5:17 says the sinful nature wants to do evil, which is just the opposite of what the Spirit wants. And the Spirit gives us desires that are the opposite of what the sinful nature desires. These two forces are constantly fighting each other, so you are not free to carry out your good intentions. It's interesting. It's talking all about the bad things that we do that we don't want to do, but at the end it says we have good intentions.
Yeah, and I think Wendy and I have been to conferences where they talk about respect, and sometimes you go to a talk about respect at a marriage conference, and you sort of feel like you're getting beat up a little bit, especially if your spouse has ever told you that you don't respect them enough, and it's like, okay, great, I see where this is going. And it's kind of like, all right, now I'm getting hit by this, huge bat about I need to be respectful. And it's almost as though the idea is, I don't mean to respect my spouse, and I don't want to respect my spouse. And we're here to tell you, we believe that you do want to respect your spouse, and we believe that you do mean to respect your spouse, just as Wendy and I mean to respect each other. That's what the scripture is saying here, is we have good intentions. It's not a lack of good intentions, but the gunk is still there mixed in with the good intentions, and that's why we need that filter.
Yeah, and the thing is that God is trying to produce some different qualities in us, and those qualities are the fruits of the Spirit, right? The Bible tells us that the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. That sounds like a really amazing list. Like if we could do that in our relationship, that'd be awesome, right?
And that last phrase, against these things there is no law, is the idea that at that point, you ever hear you can have too much of a good thing? Absolutely true, by the way. But the list that God just gave us is the list of things you cannot have too much of a good thing. And so at that point, the filter has done its job. Well, it's not, and sometimes I talk to Christians who are really worried because they're like, by default, I'm not loving and kind and self-controlled and all the things that this says. And I want to say, welcome to the club. By default, none of us are.
Yep.
That's why we need the filter. We need the filter because there is going to be quarrelsomeness that goes in. There is going to be dissension that goes in. There is going to be some angry outbursts that go in. But the goal is, as we begin to say, God, how do you want me to approach my spouse in this situation? How do you want me to talk to them? How do you want me to interact with them? Then, as we allow God to lead us, then we see some of those things that would normally happen start to turn into these things that the Bible says are the fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah, so let's apply those real quick. Let's do 3 things that we can filter. How can we apply this? Well, the first thing is we can listen more and talk less. James 1:19-20 says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires."
Listening rather than talking will always win the battle for you. And when we teach grad students in psychology and counseling, one of the rules of thumb that is often used is to say, if you're meeting with someone to help them, then you should have them talking 6 times as much as you. You'd be surprised when you start to run the numbers how much it feels like you're not talking when you're trying to get them talking 6 times as much as you. That is a lot. But here's why. When we start talking more than we should, we start trying to fix. The more I talk, the more I try to fix. And here's the thing, your spouse did not sign up to be your project, they signed up to be your person.
I think you should say that again.
Yeah, they didn't sign up to be your project, they signed up to be your person. They didn't sign up for a coach or a counselor, they signed up for a teammate, right? Yeah. So actually, I can serve the purpose of being their teammate so well if I choose to do what James is saying, remember that God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth, and to talk less than I listen. Or talk less than I listen. I said that right,
listen
okay.
More. Yeah. Well, and speaking of talking, because we do have to talk sometimes. When we talk, we need to practice gentle answers. Proverbs 15:1 says, "A gentle answer turneth away wrath." Listen at my King James in there, turneth away. It's sneaking in there from memorizing a long time ago. But harsh words stir up anger. So some examples of gentle answers could be, let's say you and your spouse are kind of at a, impasse sort of, and you say, you know what, when they say that, say, let me think about that for a minute. Let me think about that. I'll get back to you on that. Or you have a point. Like, oh my goodness, what would your spouse, some of us, if we said you have a point to our spouse, they'd be like, what have you done with my spouse, right? Maybe some of us need to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so practicing gentle answers is a key here. Just doing this once isn't going to change the temperature of your relationship. Practicing gentle answers. And by the way, we mentioned Dr. Gottman before. Another aspect of his research, very interesting stuff, having to do with couples who had fights that were getting out of control, was he found that couples who really struggled with conflict had something he called harsh startup, which meant they just start the conversation or keep the conversation going with harsh words, with a harsh demeanor. And he said the couples who really handled conflict well were able to soften the way that they engage. And so that gentle answer of saying, I'm sorry. Because some of us were like, well, Jonathan, you want me to apologize for something I didn't do. No, I don't. But here's what I'm saying. Like, let me stretch you a little bit on this. If at any point in our marriage, some of us have gotten so defensive that we don't see our part in it at all anymore. We're so focused on their part that we don't see our part at all in it anymore. If I'm at a point where I say, I have nothing to apologize to Wendy for, I am fooling myself, right? There's always something that I need to think through and say, what is it that Wendy needs to hear from me on, that we need to have forgiveness on? And then being able to say you have a point, that's a big one, right? I didn't say you're completely right, but I'm saying I'm interested in what you have to say there, what you have. So those gentle answers can make a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, and thirdly, make sure grace is the main ingredient in everything you do, and share the hard truths with seasoning. What are you talking about with seasoning here?
Well, in Colossians 4:6, there's this verse that says, let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt. And here, the biblical idea of salt is that it's truth. It's the hard truths. Seasoned with salt so that you may know how to answer everyone. Okay, so Wendy and I lately have been watching cooking shows.
Not because you're a foodie.
I'm not a foodie.
He is not a foodie.
But I am interested in these shows because I'm interested in artists, and I feel like these chefs that cook at this level, there's an artistry to what they do. I think it's very interesting.
It's true.
And so it is as though God is saying, because the scripture here is calling a cooking metaphor. The cooking, I'm supposed to give my spouse a big heaping bowl full of grace with a little bit of the hard truth seasoned on top, right? There's an artistry to respect. It's an artistic thing to say, I'm serving you mostly grace, but I'm not dishonest. I'm not fake. The hard truths are in there, but it's wrapped up in this big bowl of grace that I'm serving. It's so important. So a big part of this, right, is to be able to say, all right, when I have to talk about what is concerning me in this relationship, have I given a platform of grace for it to sit on? Or is it something where the only thing is in the bowl are the grains of salt, and that's all that I'm giving them?
Yeah. It's good. Okay, so the first challenge was the idea of filtering, and does filtering make us fake? The second challenge that we have to deal with sometimes is the idea that we should only respect someone if they earn our respect.
And that's really common in our culture. I would say even in the years that I was growing up, in the late 80s and 90s especially, there was this huge theme that you only respect people when they earn your respect. Problem is, that's a standoff. You have two people saying, all right, earn it, and when you earn it, then I'll do it, and the other person saying, when you earn it, then I'll do it, and nobody's showing respect. And especially today in our political climate, it's important for us to understand there's a big difference between respect and support.
Yep.
Right? I don't have to support what you do, but I can respect you as a person, and I can treat you with honor and respect. And not only can I, but that's what God has instructed me to do.
Absolutely. 1 Peter 2:17 says, respect everyone. Can I say that again? Respect everyone and love the family of believers, fear God, and respect the king.
Yeah, now, doesn't that sound redundant? So,
everyone.
Respect everyone, and then I'm going to come back to the end of the verse and say, and also respect the king. I don't know if to you, but to me that sounds redundant. But what you should know is the king that he's talking about would be Nero.
He was a bad dude.
Nero's famous for torturing Christians, for killing Christians, for going after Christianity. So no wonder Peter felt like, I'm going to have to say this specifically, because when I say respect everyone, they're not going to think of this guy. And like, respect the king. Now, Peter wasn't saying support what the king does, or you have to agree with what Nero says, or you have to get behind his agenda. He's just saying you have to show this person honor, because that's what God has called us to do, to honor the person, right? And that's a big thing, because sometimes we're like, well, I would respect my spouse if I was in alignment with them on this thing. And actually, I mentioned politics earlier. one of the things we're watching in our culture, because it's such a heated political season, in psychology, we're watching marriages struggle over politics. And there's this idea, well, we're not in alignment, so I cannot respect them on that. I can respect them on things where we're aligned, but I cannot respect them on things where we're not aligned. Okay, first of all, you realize that's just another way of saying I will respect them as long as they're like me. But if they're not like me, then I won't respect them, right? That is the epitome of selfishness, by the way. But beyond all of that, right, it's the understanding that, look, alignment is important, and I celebrate it when it's there. But even when there's not alignment, I can still show honor to another human being. I can still treat them with honor and respect.
Yeah, and you're saying we can, and we obviously should. And this is kind of a slow pitch. I mean, we're in church, but why should we?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we just talked about the logical part, right? Logically, you should respect everyone. Scripturally, you should respect everyone. But I don't know if you're like me, you're like, yeah, but in my gut, I don't feel it. I don't feel like respecting everyone, right? Why should I do that when, you know, my spouse is being the way that they're being, or this person's being the way that they're being? Here's why. Why should I respect them? Because it's not about them. It's not about them. Whether or not you respect them is not about them. It is about you and God. Right? There's a triangle going on here. There's you, there's God, there's the other person. And God is saying, I want you to respect them for my sake. I'll give you an example. In college, back in Florida, I had a really good friend, one of my best friends. And he had this super annoying friend. And I know what you're thinking, and were you that super annoying friend? No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And maybe to someone else, this person would not have been annoying. It's just, this guy talked nonstop about things I had zero interest in. He had interests very different than mine. He was a Star Trek, I guess you call it a Trekkie. He was a Trekkie. He was into Renaissance Fair. He was into Comic-Con, and he was into
Not
computer.
that you're nerdy or annoying if you like those things.
I was gonna say,
in here.
I'm sure they're wonderful things, right? Like, and all
Because
these
you're wonderful, I'm
video
sure.
games that I'd never played in my life. And
Jonathan just doesn't want to be friends with you.
Yeah. Oh, dear
Sorry.
me.
I should probably stick to like what we've talked about, huh?
But seriously, I'm sure those are wonderful things, but I had no experience with them, and I would sit there and I would go, I don't need to hear any more about this. But I showed this person kindness, but not because of them. I showed them kindness because my best friend cared about that person. And because I knew that I was doing something for my best friend to be a good friend to this person, right? This is what God is saying. God is saying, I'm not asking you to do it for them, because if you base it on their performance, you're never going to respect them. God is saying, I'm asking you to do it for me. I'm asking you to do it because here's the deal. The way I want to love Wendy better than any human being on the rest of this earth loves Wendy. But what you have to understand is no matter how much I love her, I can never love her as much as God loves her. I will never even get close to the value that she has in God's eyes. And God is saying, I know you don't know how important Wendy is to me. I know you have an idea, but you're not even close. And I know you don't know how important she is to me, but I just want you to respect her for me. Would you do it for me, right? Again, God's not asking me to agree with everything. God's not asking me to be in alignment with everything. God is just saying, respect her as a person that I created. And that's really, really important.
Yeah, Ephesians 5, and there's a lot of verses here. We're just going to kind of condense it down. It says, follow God's example, therefore, as dearly loved children, and walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. Listen to this part. Be very careful then how you live. Filter, right? Not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ.
Yeah, so by the way, that idea of being very careful and making the most out of every opportunity because the days are evil, that's like saying, be very careful with your water, filter it really well because the water is gunky. That's basically what's being said here. Really use that filter because we live in an evil culture and we have an evil sin nature, and so we need to be very careful. But then it says we submit to one another, and the word there means to put the other person first, to show honor to respect them, to submit to one another. Why? Out of reverence to Christ. Not because they deserve it, but because of reverence to Christ.
Yeah. And the third challenge to showing respect is this, and you kind of touched on it just a minute ago. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like respecting my spouse.
Yeah, and that's tough because if we were to get down to just the nitty gritty of like, this is what life is like when you're married, there are going to be moments where that tender heart that you want to have toward your spouse, right? That sort of soft heart that you want to have toward them starts to get crusty. And there's kind of a wall of hurt feelings that starts to build up there. And then when that happens, it can just sort of be like, I just don't feel it.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had plenty of people sit in my office. I know you've had that as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, we've had people in the office, but I mean, if you'll pardon me just a moment, just a personal story. When we were first married, if you've been to one of our events before, you know, our marriage was not great the first several years. We fought all the time, you know, it was tough. I did not respect him the way I should, the way I'm called as a woman by God to respect my husband. I didn't. My expectations were not being met. They were probably, most of them, unreasonable. I mean, honestly. But, you know, just for various reasons, that respect wasn't there. And ladies, mostly ladies, I say this to you because our guys do need respect, and typically guys are wired to really need that respect. But I wasn't good about doing that for Jonathan. I wasn't good about giving him respect. I absolutely thought in my head, well, he hasn't earned my respect. He hasn't done what he's supposed to do. So why should I be kind to him? Why should I respect him? My heart was a little hard at that. And I may be jumping ahead of what you were talking about. I don't know.
You're
if
a pro
I am
at it now, by the way. You're fantastic. So
well, thank you.
Well,
But here's the thing, though. God did a work in my heart before I was able to start showing him more respect. Because here's the deal. You can do the behaviors, whether you're the lady or the guy, you can do the behaviors for a short period of time just out of sheer, I'm
we can
pretty
teach you
stubborn.
some things to say.
Well, and if you're strong-willed or stubborn like I was, you know, like, man, I'm just going to do this and improve. But then when your spouse doesn't act the way you think they should act, when you've been respecting them, then you give up and you stop.
Anything, here, let me give you a psychological principle that is from the Bible that I think holds true. Any change that you want to have in your life, in the way that you approach the world and the way that you approach others, any change that you want to have in your life that will really last starts with a heart change. It does not start with a behavior change. Now, don't get me wrong, changing behavior is great, but changing behavior flows out of a heart change. So if I just try to change my behavior, but I have the same old crusty heart, nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change long term. And what do I mean by changing your heart? This is the thing. The heart in the Bible is the seat of your beliefs. So the idea is I need to change what I believe about my spouse. If I wanna behave differently toward my spouse, I need to change what I believe about them. If I've come to believe, I've heard ladies tell me that their husband is just a third kid, and they have 2 kids and their husband's just a third kid. And I know they're joking, but if you start to say it enough, you'll come to believe it. And once you come to believe it, guess what you'll start to treat your husband like? You'll start to treat him like a third kid. I've heard husbands talk about their wives like they're a possession. I mean, I don't even hear their name. It's just always my wife this and my wife that. And the way that it's discussed is just like, well, you know, this is one of my possessions. Guess what? If you talk about your spouse like a possession, you believe that, you start to believe that, you will treat her like a possession instead of your person in this world. So it's really, really important, right, that we be careful about what we believe in our relationship.
It is. Proverbs 4:23 instructs us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. What you believe about your spouse definitely influences your behavior. Negative, I'm just recapping what you said. Our negative beliefs result in negative behaviors. Our positive beliefs lead to positive behaviors. I mean, we talk about this when we say your heart will follow your investment. Like if you feel like I don't feel like I love my spouse. Okay, well, invest in your spouse and your feelings will follow that investment.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, that's the opposite of what the culture teaches you. Culture teaches you that you will invest in what you love, right? And Jesus teaches you will love what you invest in, right? So it's a very different idea. Now, here's the deal. There may be a really beautiful, wonderful, unintended side effect of this. If you decide, I'm gonna be the person in this relationship who's gonna step up the game in respect, there may be a beautiful, unintended side effect, which is you may accidentally motivate your spouse to really rise to the occasion. Because there's something about believing in someone that tends to motivate them. Silly story. Back when I was 8 or 9 years old, our church's music director thought we needed a handbell choir.
Well, it was the 90s,
it was a thing. It was a thing in the 80s and 90s was to have a handbell choir. And so we had an adult handbell choir, but he also wanted to have a kids handbell choir, of which Wendy and I were in. And I was like 8 and you were like, what, 11 or 12, something like that. And,
yeah.
And
I was older than you, let's put it that way.
Even when I was... Even when I was 9 years old, I had this huge crush on her. She didn't know,
I didn't
right? But
He was
I am now
9.
very nervous. What did you say? I didn't even catch it.
Now I know where I can tell you like things that I don't really want you to hear. I can just tell
say
them
it
on
under-
stage. Everybody else knows, but
Gotcha.
you won't know.
Okay.
I just said you were 9. Like, anyways, continue.
Yes,
continue.
I gotcha. Okay. You weren't a creepy older girl. I gotcha. Okay.
Right, yeah,
Right.
hello.
Okay. So anyway, we're standing next to each other, right? And you're like, now I understand Jonathan. Everything is so clear. Jonathan was part of a junior handbell choir. It all makes sense now. But so I'm standing next to Wendy, and if you watch a handbell choir play, and if you've never done it, let me just save you the effort. It's not worth it. But if you ever have watched one previously, like these really talented bell ringers will have 7 or 8 bells in front of them and they're playing all of them. We were just very new at this and kids, and most of us just had 2 bells to ring. And I wanted to be perfect at that because I wanted to impress the girl standing next to me, right? And so the music director came to me and said, this piece requires an extra bell. I want to give you this extra bell. And I told him, I cannot do that. That is too much, because I'm thinking I'm going to totally mess up and then I'm going to be so embarrassed in front of this girl that I'm interested in. And so guess what he does next handbell practice? He comes to her and says, Jonathan doesn't think he can play this 3rd bell. Can you play this, right? I'm just wanting to melt like a puddle on the floor. And Wendy turns around and comes over to me holding this bell, and she's like, you can do this. She's like, you can totally do this. You do this. Like, you're completely capable of this. And she said it in such a sweet and gracious way that I've always remembered that. This many years later, I've always remembered that. There's something about when somebody looks at you and says, I believe in you. I believe you can do this. I believe you have the ability to do this. It changes everything, right? It gives us something to live up to, and we think, man, I have something that's really motivating me, because it's not very motivational if somebody believes you're going to fail. Why would I try if somebody believes that I'm going to fail? But if somebody really believes I'm going to succeed, and that somebody happens to be the person I'm spending my life with, then that's a huge motivation for me to rise to the occasion. Right?
Yeah, so we want to leave you guys with a challenge. And this challenge comes from Romans 12, the second part of the verse. And it challenges us to outdo one another in showing honor. And that word honor there can be translated into respect. It is in several parts.
And that's actually the verse. The verse itself is outdo one another in showing honor. Josh and Heather Tice talked about this at the marriage retreat. They said, if you're a competitive couple, here's your chance. Here's an opportunity to try to compete with each other. And God is saying, you want to compete? Compete to see who can be the most respectful in this relationship. And it'll change everything. This is why we're saying there are really important things in marriage, and protecting and providing and loving and caring and all those things. But don't forget to keep respect up there at the top of the list, because if you're a couple who pegs out that quality of respect, your relationship will make the neighbors jealous.
Yeah, let me say a quick prayer for you. Dear Jesus, thank you for each one of these couples here tonight. Thank you for those who are watching online, Father God. I just pray that you would bless each one of them, help them to compete and outdo each other in offering the other person respect. Thank you, Father, for loving us. Thank you for creating marriage. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. We are getting ready to have an amazing time with this last song. So listen to this last song and then head out and get some more shaved ice.
All right. If y'all want to stand up and sing with us, it's a song we know. Let me take you back, yeah. What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, do you know I got it? All I'm asking is for a little respect when you get home. Hey, baby, when you get home, it's not a good time tonight. All right.